Hello folks, hope you're well. 3, 4. Is it ever a good idea to meet your heroes? And if you do meet your heroes, can you actually learn anything from it? So we're going to start by winding the clock back to, it's a long time ago, 2003. Sunday, October the 12th, 2003. I was 18 years old. Today's video is about Led Zeppelin, or more specifically, Jimmy Page and Robert Plant. That band was a huge influence on me, and weirdly Lou as well. I guess a lot of girls did like Led Zeppelin back in the day, but certainly when we were growing up it was sort of more of a band that the boys who were into music were into. I've spoken about the band that I was in at that time. It was kind of a hardcore punk band with a kind of a classic rock influence. That sounds terrible, doesn't it? When I say classic rock influence, I just mean a Led Zeppelin influence. There was no other classic rock. And when I say a Led Zeppelin influence, basically it was me mainly, but also the other guitarist, Lucy's brother, trying to be Jimmy Page. We would get back from school, basically stick on The Song Remains, the same VHS, and just be glued to it. And we'd like pause it, and we'd like, what's going on there? What is he doing there? Why has his eyes gone red? What's with the whole riding the horses? Why is John Paul Jones obviously wearing a wig in one of the segments? And just generally, apart from the silly stuff, marvelling at the band at the height of their powers at Madison Square Gardens. Let's go back to 2003. 50 pairs of tickets to meet Jimmy Page in London. People like me and my mate, you know, kickers from the Midlands, we don't win competitions, man. You know, I don't know anyone that has won a competition. And he won tickets and we're like, what? Do you want to come meet Jimmy Page with me? I'm like, obviously. So we thought rather than risk it on the day, which was a Sunday, we'll go down and we'll meet our friend in Oxford, stay the night with him, and then go on to London the next day. So we got down there on Saturday night and of course, absolute carnage ensued. We wake up on the Sunday morning, crawl out of bed. And we got on the megabus to Tower Bridge. By this time, the hangovers are sort of wearing off a little bit. And we're like, wow, okay, yeah, we're meeting Jimmy Page today. What's that story, the country mouse and the town mouse? What's that story? It's like two boys from the West Midlands getting off the bus and you're in central London. Absolutely ridiculous. I feel like we had a phone or a map or something and we find our way to the store and we get the wristbands. And we go into the store and, you know, it was basically a Sunday, so I feel like it was closed, but they let the people that had wristbands in. At the time, Led Zeppelin were promoting, or Jimmy was out there promoting this DVD. Bearing in mind, we'd just spent the last 5 years watching The Song Remains the same on VHS. They usher us all in and they sort of say, right, you can have a look around. Jimmy will sign one thing for you all, and we suggest that you know, purchase the new DVD. Jimmy would like that kind of thing. I'm sure he would. Purchase the new DVD or the How the West Was One album. If you just sort of wait in the aisles, Jimmy will be here soon. And we're all kind of standing around, and then all of a sudden there's like a bit of commotion over in the corner of the room. There he is, there's Jimmy Page. Wow. And then like the room just goes silent. It was really weird, the room sort of went silent. And then somebody started clapping and everyone went, it's went absolutely nuts. Hey, Jimmy. And I remember thinking he's like quite a bit smaller than I imagined he would be. People say that about rock stars, don't they? They're either much bigger than you think they are, or they're much smaller. I mean, he looked super cool and he kind of swaggered on his big smile, sort of said hello and thanks for coming. And then yeah, you basically queued up to meet him, as I'm sure many of you will have been to these kind of signings. It's a slightly odd situation. It's definitely not the ideal way to meet your hero. But then what is really? Is it a good time if you just run into him in the supermarket? Good time if you run into him when when they're leaving a gig? When is a good time to meet someone who has basically inspired you to do the thing that you're doing? There is no good time. I realised that much later on the day. I was just like, we kind of get to the front of the queue and like heart's going now. Kind of mad, isn't it? You know, looking back on it. We didn't take the photos. I think somebody was employed to be, oh, here you go, take a photo with Jimmy. Shook his hand. I just remember being totally amazed and just staring at him. And he must have noticed that I was staring at him, and he was like, ah, you boys are musicians then? And we were like, yes, sir. Like, he obviously saw that we were just shitting ourselves. Like, totally rabbit in the headlights. And he obviously cracked a joke, because there's a lovely frame where I'm laughing, which means he must have sort of cracked a joke or something to kind of ease our, well, fear. I don't really remember looking at him. I did look at him, because you can see on the photos that I looked at him. I have no memory of being in front of him, if that makes sense. I remember queuing. I remember him signing this. I remember me watching him sign this. But I have no memory of being up close to him, which is really weird, isn't it? I don't actually remember being up close to him. Where is it? Oh, look at that. What is that? That's a crazy signature, isn't it? And he's signed his face as well, which I love. This is like one of my prized possessions, this. So we get our signature and he says, all right, boys. Yeah, whatever it was. Thanks. Somebody comes in and goes, okay, walk this way. And we were actually one of the last ones there. I remember we just sort of stood there off to the side of where he's, you know, as he signed the last few people. Just like, wow. Couldn't really believe what had just happened. I think we went for like a burger after that, and then got on the bus and went home. And what a day out that was. It sort of weirdly sustained us, I think. That did, in a way. You know, this was around the time I was in my first touring band, and it was super cool to have that connection with someone right at the other end of the spectrum. Suffice to say, I continued doing my best Jimmy Page impression for quite some time after that. I think that's wrong, isn't it? Now, we should go forward in time, and this is where Lucy comes into the story, which is pretty cool. Jimmy Page, October 2003 activities, not that. Solar eclipse, no. Did you all see the eclipse? It's rubbish, wasn't it? Absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Where does Robert Plant live? Kashmir tab. Here we go. Chapter 2, An Evening with Robert Plant. Saturday, the 25th of September, 2010. There's a couple of cool connections with this story. The venue for this meeting was at St. Peter's Collegiate Church, which is, as regular viewers of the channel will know, where I was a choir boy. They had to raise £300,000 for the new organ. There was a connection, obviously, between Wolverhampton Wanderers and St. Peter's Collegiate Church, which is the sort of main church in Wolverhampton. And another connection with another famous musician. That musician is Edward Elgar, who was also a Wolves fan. So much of a fan that he actually wrote a song, a Wolves chant for, get the name right on this, a player, obviously, back in the day, called Billy Malpas, after reading a match report about a 4-2 victory over Stoke. The concert featured the first public performance of He Banged the Leather for the Goal, a rediscovered 1898 musical football chant written by Sir Edward Elgar. The event was held in association with Wolverhampton Wanderers FC to celebrate Elgar's known personal connections to both the football club and the parish church. And of course, Robert Plant, I think he might have even been like the president, or was given some like honorary, no, he wasn't putting any money in, but he was certainly on the board or something at Wolves. He was involved on that day, as well as all this other craziness. Lucy was in the first violins in the Wolverhampton Symphony Orchestra who played the show, who played that. Do you remember that song?
Which song?
The football song?
No.
No.
I don't know if we played that.
Well, you did, because
Did we?
it's on the set, yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It seems like the kind of thing that my dad would have said, oh, you know who's going to be there. And being the hungry young musician that I was, I probably thought, well, here's an opportunity. Or I was going to support Lucy, or some combination of the two. I was at the back of the church, just sort of hiding out, probably waiting for it to be over to go to the pub. I like the music of Elgar, but I wasn't. I probably wouldn't go and see it live. And of course, I took with me a copy of that 2009 debut album. This was out and in the world. You're the first violin, so you're in the front of the orchestra.
Yeah, I was like second desk, and he must have been no more than 2 meters away from me. He's on the front row. So,
So Robert Plant is front row at Lucy's gig. Yeah, I'll just say that again. Robert Plant is front row, just loving Lucy's work in the first violins.
It's kind of a weird thing that I've never seen him perform live, but yet he's seen me perform live.
That is weird.
That's a weird
Robert,
thing.
it's nothing personal. We'd love to see you perform live. So Lucy does the gig. First violins. First violins. The gig ends, and of course, everyone descends on Robert Plant. Some people are trying to play it cool, me. Other people just don't care, and they're straight up to him. And I guess part of the deal with being the president, it's a PR role. So at events like this, he's there to be visible and go, yeah, I support this. And it worked. They raised the money for the organ. They got a great new organ. I'm waiting at the back of the church for Lou to come out, yes, but also for Mr. Robert Plant to leave. Clutching my copy of The Boy in the Bear Trap, sadly not available at all good record stores. And I thought what I would do is give Robert one of these. How am I going to do that? Am I going to be the douchebag? Robert, look at me. Here's the CD. That's not cool, is it? We need a plan. I'll wait for Lou at the back of the church, and that will ensure that I won't miss him. That will mean that he's got to go past me unless they take him out a side door, in which case I was screwed. Don't forget, I had an intimate knowledge of this church. I was there 3 times a week for the best part of 10 years. I knew every exit. I knew that he was either going out the door at the very back of the church, or he'd have to walk all the way down the church and past me out to the front entrance. I'm waiting, and he's just getting absolutely mobbed. Bless him, man. He's talking to everyone, he's giving everyone 5 minutes, he's shaking hands, he's taking pictures. Being a gentleman, charismatic. The thing that strikes you about people like that is how good they are with people. Literally, anyone that came up to him, he'd give 5 minutes. At the same time, he's slowly, wasn't he, moving to the back of the church. And so he's working his way back down the aisle of the church. And he gets to a certain point, and you can see he's like, right, we're going to make a break for it. The French exit, whatever it is. And he's just like, right, we're going, that's it. And he starts walking towards me. By this time, Lou has joined me at the door. She's packed up her violin. She stood next to me. And I'm stood there like that. And I see him coming towards me. And then there's no one between us. It's Robert Plant walking towards me. Me, little gremlin, Midland urchin, Matt Pinfield, me and Lucy stood next to me, and he gets right down. I'm like, this is it, I've got to do it. I've got Robert. And he kind of looks down, and there was a moment I'm just looking up at him, and for a second I'm just right there, back where I was 7 years ago with Jimmy Page, just like frozen to the spot. Heart's going, hi, Robert. I'm in a band. You wonder how many times he's heard that. Hi, Robert, I'm in a band. Gave him the CD, and he took it, and he kind of looked at it, and he was like, oh. I tell you what, I do remember, it's just come back to me. I told him that Lucy was playing violin tonight. And he was like, I think he made some comment like, oh, you were great, kind of thing. That's literally just come back to me. How crazy is that? And with that, he was gone, and he was out the door, and can you see the goosebumps? Like, look at that. He walks down the drive, and we kind of, the doors are, the big church doors are open, and we watch him and his wife girlfriend, walked down the drive, disappeared into the night. It was September, so by the time he gets to the end of the drive, he's literally disappeared. Me and Lou just like, wow. That felt like a big thing that I'd given him the album. I'm not sure what I thought he would do. Did he do something that I don't know about? I mean, certainly it started to kick off a bit after that. We'll never know, will we? I don't know what I expected, other than, you know, you want these people that you respect and you love to also know about your creativity on some level that is inspired by them. There's 2 bins quite close to the church. There's like one down that end of the drive, the one down there. And I deliberately took me and Lou on this little roundabout trip. And I mean, you'd have to be some piece of work to just go, oh, thanks for that, straight in the fucking bin. So I had a look at the bins. The album wasn't in the bin. So somewhere in Robert Plant's houses is a copy of my record. And Robert, if you enjoyed the album, you know, do jump in the comments and let me know. Much love to Jimmy Page and Robert Plant. We love them. We listen to Led Zeppelin all the time in this house. We absolutely monstrously big fans of that band. And I think we always will be. If you've enjoyed this video, folks, please give us a like. Subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. And of course, folks, do come back next week for some more.